All right, let's give a big round of applause and welcome to our great panelists. Food always looks great. I wish we had some samples here. It would have been great. I want to start on a lighthearted note to kind of a warm up here. So obviously we went through the roller coaster of TikTok, up and down, all of that. So there's been a lot of whirlwind in the creator economy space. I'm curious that what are you excited about as a creator and with content in 2025? So Jess, let's start with you.
Yeah, for sure. So I am really excited about the rise of personal branding, and it's because of the rise of AI. And I think because of the rise of artificial intelligence and these AI influencers, audiences are going to want to connect to real humans even more so. So I'm personally really looking forward to leaning into more of that and actually sharing more of my story.
Very exciting. Well, we keep an eye on that. I think that's a great point. There's a lot of AI creators that are coming about. There's a lot of AI written content. And we've talked about it past panels, especially on the one on personal branding that was in November with Yenna. Yenna's here. There she is. About like people trust people. And I think that's such an exciting and motivating reason to be creating and just continuing to double down on that. And it's become so ubiquitous, like creating content, that like the cringe barrier, as we discussed, is so low now. It's like, just get it out there. Which is very exciting. And Erin, what about you?
Oh gosh, I'm so excited. I'm generally a big optimist, but I am particularly excited for creators to be taken seriously. Ooh. I feel like this is the new era where people are like, oh shit, they actually are entrepreneurs. They know what they're doing. They're business owners. You know, we have podcasts and companies that come out and apps. Like, we're serious people. We're not just TikTokers, you know? So I'm excited for this kind of shift in the zeitgeist, personally.
I love that. Anyone ever see Succession where the father was like, "You're not serious people"? It's like, that's what I think about when you tell someone like you're a content creator, but no, that's shifting. Yeah. That's shifting. Yeah. And Olivia?
Yeah, I think we have definitely talked about this a ton at Brett's events before, but I'm obsessed with LinkedIn personally. We did a meetup last week, and every single person who showed up there learned about it on LinkedIn, and I think that is such a new wave and an exciting space to be. So it's still locked in on LinkedIn in 2025.
All right, we are locked in on LinkedIn. We love that. Zach?
Yeah, I'm really looking...
Besides eating.
That's a given. So 2025 is hopefully going to be a huge year for me. 2023, 2024 was about building myself up, really finding myself, what I wanted my niche and my content to be. It's been a long journey of self-discovery for me in this space. Some people find it from day one. I'm still discovering it right now. But 2024, I started my recipe subscription service. It started slow, but it's really starting to take off right now. So like any video that I post, that recipe, if you want it, it's behind a paywall. And I know that can be quite annoying for some people. I've wanted to make a recipe myself, and then I had to subscribe in order to see it. But there's a lot of work and effort going into this, and time and energy spent behind the scenes, recipe developing, editing, all of that. So I really want to take that to the next level. So one thing that it's helped do for me is to better focus my content, because now I want to create recipes that people want to create at home. So that's fueling my content. And then I'm also working on a cookbook right now. It's going to be my first cookbook. So those are two things that I'm really...
Right? Oh, we got fans. We got fans.
Very excited for
How much is he paying you?
But yeah, that's like gonna be the focus for 2025, is like this book development and really just creating recipes that people are gonna want to make at home.
It sounds like you're entering this like maturation phase.
Yeah.
And you've been through it, which I think is good. And I definitely want to dive into those hesitations of putting stuff behind a paywall, which we'll talk about. Yeah. Which all very exciting stuff. So I'm stoked for all of you and all that's being done in this creator space. I think it's why we're all here and why we continue to see this community grow. I actually have a quick question for the audience, quick poll, temperature check. How many people here are maybe just starting out as a content creator? Show of hands. Okay, awesome. How many people are maybe monetizing through like affiliate or brand partnerships? Okay. And how many people here have maybe like already launched an owned product, whether it's a course or digital product or something? Okay. And how many maybe are looking to make that leap into that? Okay, I expect all hands to be up for that one. All right, very lovely. So, Erin, you stood out to me because you have done this. You've been in the midst of selling digital products and courses, and you do a good job at kind of funneling your content into that, or taking your content and turning it into something. And so with the topic of the panel about working smarter, not harder, it's this element of taking content you've already created and then turning it into something more, something deeper. And I think for all the creators in the room who like, okay, I've been creating for 2-3 years since the pandemic, all this stuff, how do you go about like identifying what content could turn into something that can be productized?
It's a great question, Brett.
Okay,
Awesome
thank you.
Question.
Thank you.
So for me, I give career advice. So I get hundreds of DMs every single day, hundreds of comments, and I began to see like similar pain points. You know, people were struggling with confidence. That's a big one. People are struggling with career confusion. They wanted to negotiate their salary. They wanted to advocate for themselves at work. They were just looking for guidance. So the struggle, Brett, is my whole thing is giving free career advice. So the second you start to put stuff behind a paywall, people would get really mad. So my struggle was, how do you monetize this account? Besides, you know, brand partnerships, which are fantastic, but we all know they're inconsistent. How do you monetize it in a consistent way where people don't get mad? So what I do is I give away a ton of free stuff. I give away stuff that career coaches are charging thousands of dollars for all the time. I do free resume reviews. I do stuff all the time, and the people who want more, they're like, that's not enough, I want more. That's when I'm like, okay, now you can pay $15 for a resume guide, you know? But what I do is I make sure that all of my paid products are really good. Because if somebody buys something and they're like, this wasn't worth it, they'll never buy from me again. So you need to make sure that everything you put out, you have integrity behind it, and that it's a really good product.
Interesting. So you take a route of like, your content's all free, and now to kind of ease your audience into that next thing, you continue to give out free stuff, but it's like you have to download it, right?
Yeah.
Bring them in the funnel. And then those that want more, you can funnel even deeper and deeper.
It's
and
like a
deeper.
freemium model, essentially, yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. That's very unique to know. And Zach, you're unique because you're a subscription model. You haven't dabbled yet with courses and whatnot yet, because we'll get you on Teachable. But I'm curious, what sparked this process of like, okay, I've been creating all these amazing free recipes, and they're amazing. I mean, check out Zach's content, very high quality, and the recipes are very mouth-watering. And I'm a Mediterranean foodie fan, so it's all very good stuff. But like, how did you end up thinking like, okay, maybe I can now take all these things and then funnel people into buying it? And now that's always on, like while you're sleeping, right? People are paying for subscriptions.
Yeah, so listen, it took a while for me to finally decide that I wanted to do this. I started out, I just wanted to do a free website, and then through traffic and like ad revenue, that's how I could create an income. But it was just kind of taking too long. It was tough to do that. And there's this guy, he would have been perfect for this event, but he's based in LA. He has a website builder for people like me, anybody in the food creation space, where it's a website builder if you want to create, and you could create a subscription or it could be free. But he was up my ass for like 6 months. Like, you need to start this. Like what you're creating has value. You could really make a significant income from this. And I was just like, what the hell? Let's do it. And it was an amazing decision, because now I charge the price of a coffee per month, and we're over, I think, 1,000 subscribers now. Each month it's been, thank you. Yeah.
So you've seen good response.
Yeah. So like, usually it like kind of goes hand in hand with my content. So if I make a recipe that performs really well and people really want to make it, I'll see a huge uptick in my subscribers. But it's not just about that monthly income. It's like a tried and true like community or like subset of your following, and like these are people that have demonstrated that they want to spend money on you. So it's a great test run for like if you want to do something like merch or any kind of product. And yeah, it's just like it's really helped also to take off a lot of stress, because you never know when your next brand deal is going to be. And
Hop off the treadmill a little.
yeah, they pay great, but like you get that consistent monthly income that you know what to expect. And then hopefully I in the future, I want to leverage this when I do work with brands, because let's say I have like 5,000 subscribers, and these are all people that are willing to spend money on cooking, so they might be more prone to like wanting to get new pots and pans, buy good olive oil, buy your cookbook one day. These are people that share that same passion for you, you know? And there are so many directions that you could take it. You can even turn it into in-person events. You could do like subscribers only like cooking classes in New York City, or like a pop-up dinner or whatever. Like so many different ways you could go.
It's great. I love that you talked about how having a bottom of funnel product really shifts the focus of your content. So I'm sure like a lot of creators here who are either in the early stages and whatnot, you might just be like shooting out anything, right? You want to like cast a wide net. But then when there's that core, sustainable, scalable thing that you're trying to funnel people to, all of your content, you kind of want it to perhaps maybe lean into that. And so like you said, like your recipes are more geared towards getting people to go get it behind a paywall, and you're probably focusing on stuff that people will actually want versus creating something crazy. And Erin, perhaps you feel the same way in terms of, you know, if you're talking about a resume guide, well, you're talking about that because you know you have a guide on the other side. And I think that all is a great lead up to Jessica. You're here because, well, one, I'm a huge fan, and two, you had a LinkedIn post that stood out, LinkedIn shout out that stood out to me, where you were like, year 2025 is all about being more intentional and expansion. And so I'm curious, as you're hearing Erin talk and Zach talk, what are you thinking about leaning into, and maybe are there like signals from your audience that you've been seeing that are like, I should probably create something that's like productized here? So.
Yeah, for sure. You know what's crazy? I'm a little bit hard-headed. So it took me 3 realizations to come to the idea of, oh my gosh, I need to put a paywall behind this. The first being, I used to have a weekly live show with Pinterest, and there was a lot of engagement and interest from the audience. I ignored it. In the DMs, I have conversations with people who are interested in mentorship because they want to understand, how do I transition from corporate to creator? I was doing those for free. That was the second realization that I ignored. The third realization actually happened on LinkedIn. By the way, LinkedIn, I was just named a LinkedIn influencer on Forbes, which is kind of freaking crazy.
LinkedIn influencer.
I know, right? I never expected that. Anyway, it actually came when Olivia left a comment on one of my posts that did really well, where I was talking about the importance of media training for creators. And there were execs in the comments, there were strategists, there were influencers, and Olivia's like, oh, Jessica, let's chat. This sounds like a course. And I was like, okay, ding, ding, ding. This all makes sense. So we got on a call. We spoke about my strengths and my weaknesses. And so that's where the idea finally, it's like coming to life now. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. There's interest. There's an appetite. I've collected enough data through polls, through real-time engagement. Let's do this. So now I'm here.
Wow. Oh, wait, look at that. That's something to cheer for. And I think a lot of creators are in the same boat where maybe they're seeing similar signals, but it's having like a panel like this or a community like this to know that you should be like, okay, oh, that's a green light, as Matthew McConaughey says. Green lights. And you're like, oh, okay, that could be a paywall. Oh, wow, so I should be piecing something together. And Olivia, you've worked with thousands of creators, many of course who are here on this panel, including myself. Like what signals are you seeing or talking about through with them for recognizing the value of their content that could be turned into something productized, something scalable that they don't need to start from scratch? I think that's a big thing here. Don't need to create something completely new. You've already done all this stuff. You have this whole repository. Just because it's in your grid doesn't mean you can't reuse it and turn it into something again. So I'm curious like what you're seeing and how you talk through creators with that.
Yeah, I think, interestingly enough, it's a pretty emotional decision for a creator to want to launch a digital product, put something out there, put a price on it, and ask their audience to be willing to invest in them. It's a completely different dynamic when you're doing a brand sponsorship and you know that like the person you need to please is the brand on the other side, and that's one person, versus going out to your audience and wanting to get that mass appeal and wanting to put out that vulnerability of like, hey, like I've been doing this and I want want to put this thing out there, and I'm asking you guys to invest in me. So to be honest, a lot of the early conversation is around like that imposter syndrome of, yes, you can absolutely do this. Your audience wants to invest in you. They want more from you. So once we get through that, then we get on to like, okay, well, what is it? I think people also question a lot of times, what can I teach, and overthink it. I think to Erin's point, a lot of times it's just looking at what they're consistently asking for and not overthinking how to deliver that to them. That could be a 6-module mini course with videos that are 3 minutes long and a downloadable workshop that you sell for $47. Another creator that we work with, she did a really great strategy where she did a webinar in the upfront and then recorded that webinar, put it into the course, and then sold that replay as her first digital product. I think creators also overthink what it takes to produce that first digital product. You don't want to book the studio, you don't want to get the cameras for the first thing, because you have to validate that content. Once you validate the demand, then you book the studio, then you go all in. And so I think a lot of it is like, how can you build your first MVP to put it out there, validate it, and then grow from there?
How many people in this room feel like they deal with the imposter syndrome of creation? All right, big crew, big crew. Look, I mean, I feel the same way. I don't know if anyone raised their hand
We
here.
can't all be imposters.
Right,
but
I don't know.
mathematically.
We need someone real here.
Someone's got to be real.
But honestly, when we were talking on our pre-call, kind of all of you were talking about like you kind of feel like you're like, I've only been creating for 3 years, and it's like, yeah, everyone's been creating for 3 years. We all started doing this in 2020, like at the earliest. I know some have been around, for a longer time. But I do think that even when you might feel like you're established or you have a larger audience, that element of imposter syndrome does go away. And Olivia, I think you touched on a great point that like you need to get over that mental hump before you realize what it is that can be created. Like the mental barrier precedes the ideas that are on the other side. And so I want to transition now to like actually making the damn thing happen. And you talk about understanding what your audience wants. And so Erin, I'm curious with you. How are you understanding what it is that your audience wants turned into something that is a scalable product that you would create?
Again, excellent question, Brett. That's a
Thank
great
you.
question.
Thank you very much.
So what I did is I give career advice. That is my niche. And so I have pillars, as we call them, in content creation. So they are certain videos that they're certain themes. So I have like, you guys saw my salary negotiation video. That's in both my salary negotiation pillar and also my job interview pillar. Very successful series for me. I have a resume rewrite series where I take like, oh, you worked at Walmart on your resume, and then I tell people how to like flawlessly write that they worked at Walmart on their resume. Very successful series. One pushes to resume, and another one pushes towards my free salary negotiation guide. So I have about 4 or 5 free really good freebies, like a salary negotiation guide. I have a career quiz that I just launched, which has been massively successful.
This is all part of your freemium model
Freemium model. These are all free things.
It's an important note, folks.
Yeah.
Freemium.
So each of my pillars has a free like PDF or quiz attached to it. And so once people get the free thing, they get a lot of value from that. Then they're in my email sequence, and then I can upsell from there. So that's basically how it works. I have the pillars, I have the free giveaway, and a lot of what I do is the keyword automation through ManyChat. I like to get real specific with my advice too. There are no gates here. What is that, a girl boss?
What was the
gatekeep?
girl boss and gatekeep, all the G words?
I do not gatekeep.
You said a word that has been on top of my mind, ManyChat.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me also about ManyChat. I know it's a bit of an interruption, but I'm just very curious how that also is leading to understanding the validation.
No, this is like very relevant to this panel. ManyChat has like been completely transformative. So for those of you who don't know, ManyChat is a software that you can buy. I pay a monthly subscription, and whenever you see an influencer be like, DM me shirt, like put shirt in the comment section, that is a ManyChat automation. So that triggers like a DM to be automatically sent from that creator's account to that follower, or not follower, and then it'll send them like a link. What I do is that I hired an engineer to create funnels. So if they DM like Salary 101, it'll collect their email and their name and all their information in my DMs, which goes into like my CRM essentially, gets them that free thing, and then puts them into an email sequence to upsell them.
Interesting. For how many people here RSVP'd to this event because they commented kickoff on our post and then got a DM? Okay. That I was using ManyChat.
Nice.
And I was going to get into kind of the tools and stuff that are fueling all of this. And I think ManyChat is a great tool to jot down, in addition to, of course, Teachable and all the amazing stuff that's out there, because it has this great automation where you can take this top of funnel and basically bring people directly into it versus click the link in the bio. That's too much work. But if you're going to DM me immediately, there's something there. And Zach was saying he doesn't use that. And I'm like, well, Zach, you have all this amazing free content. You're then putting it behind a paywall. Well, you could say if you post, a Persian dish or something, you're like, comment below, rice pilaf. And then they'll get a DM that then points them to the recipe, and then there you go, getting a subscriber. So that's something unique to think about. And I'm curious with you, Zach, with also identifying these moments to put something behind a paywall and what to productize. Do you find that your most popular videos end up leaning into people subscribing and getting into your funnel?
Yeah, definitely. So first thing you need to do if you're interested in starting some kind of
hold the mic up.
If you're interested in starting some kind of subscription model or product, I would first say find your niche, find what kind of makes your own following and community tick. And then once you see that starts to work, and what do I mean by it starts to work is like view counts on your videos. I personally hate looking at the numbers, but it does tell a story. So view counts or story replies or story views, these are all things that kind of tell you a little bit about what people are interested in.
And you're talking from Instagram as your core platform.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, a big part of my growth was creating Persian food. I'm Persian myself. So people love to see storytelling, put yourself into your content and really tell your story. That's the first step. And then once people really vibe with you, they vibe with your message, now it's your next goal is how could I inspire them to take action? So for Erin, that would look like they want a guide on how to create a better resume. For me, I want to get people in the kitchen cooking. So once I see people are starting to do that, that's when I myself will be more comfortable starting some kind of paid model. So before I started my recipe subscription service, a lot of people were making my recipes and tagging me in their stories.
So you were seeing user-generated content validation.
Yeah, exactly. So I was inspiring people to do something. If you want to start some kind of paid model, that's essentially what it is. So kind of first figure out how that works for you, and then once you see your own perspectives, your own experiences that shape what you're doing, and yeah,
that's great. No, that's super
kind of lost my
interesting.
train of thought, to be honest.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
I very much
Get the
relate
gist.
to what you're saying
Yeah.
as I'm in this midst. And Jessica, I'm curious if you feel the same way, again, in terms of what it is that you would ultimately create. And it's I kind of wish I could turn this into a coaching session where Zach and Erin and Olivia have done it. Let's help us figure it all out. How are you thinking about what product you would ultimately want to sell? Is it something that may be one-off? Is it something that's subscription? Have you thought through that? And if so, how are you thinking through it? Because there are so many different business models in this creator economy. It can be overwhelming, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach, as we discussed. So, how are you maybe thinking about that in these current mid stages you're in?
Yeah, for sure. So I am honestly going based off of data and what folks have asked for, what they have voted for in the polls, what they have responded to in real time.
And where are you polling them?
Instagram stories.
Instagram
Yeah.
stories. Okay,
And
cool.
then I have a private DM group that I've created. Yeah, so that's been really valuable to just to have that data. So I'm pulling that. I'm also pulling information from LinkedIn. I get based on the post that I create on LinkedIn depends on the DMs that I get. So I'm also pulling that information.
Nice.
I get a lot of inquiries via LinkedIn about people wanting mentorship opportunities, or even agencies, advertisers wanting to learn more about how to hire the right creator, the right Pinterest creator. And so I'll get on these calls. I'm doing these free calls,
Yep.
and that just, it just really clicked for me. Like, you know what? This deserves to be behind a paywall, and I need to lean into my strengths rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. And my strengths for me are Pinterest marketing, and then the other piece of that would be media training, which is more of like a worksheet. So I'm looking at taking more of a hybrid approach in this instance.
Interesting. So you're kind of multifaceted, and you're taking that multifaceted approach, which is very unique.
Yeah, we're running with it.
Okay. Anyone in this audience feel as though they are multifaceted and perhaps don't think they have like such a specific niche or premise? That's good. And that's okay. I think that you're a model for like, okay, I'm on this platform and I have this audience and they may want that. And if you're able to, again, scale smarter, you can do those things, if you're not burning yourself out and you're being smart with it all.
Yeah, for sure. And I spoke to Olivia about like the best approach to do this. I didn't want to bucket myself in just one area. So we're just identifying the best ways to be able to talk about put out multiple offers on different topics. So
Very unique, very unique. And Erin, how are you deciding between a one-off product or something that is subscription-based? Like, what goes through your mind when you're looking at those different biz models for yourself and those products?
I think business model was the key word there. So you need to think about how your followers are showing up for you. I can talk louder. Your followers are not.
Folks in the back, let's keep it down.
They're having a good time. Your followers are not watching your videos every day. Actually, yours might be because they're eating. But for my followers, they come to me when they are looking for a job. Some of them stick around for confidence tips and life advice and money advice, but a lot of them come to me when they're looking for a new job. So there's a life cycle to my followers. That's why a subscription model doesn't work for me, is because they get the job and they'd probably cancel the subscription. What does work for me is a course, and I do have a course on Teachable. Look at me. So the reason that I created that was because I was getting so overwhelmed with the amount of people asking me to be their one-on-one career coach. I get really intense DMs from people who have recently gotten laid off. They can't find work. They're struggling to put food on the table, and they were asking me to be their one-on-one career coach. And I was just like, I can't. Like, I physically can't do that, and I also don't want to, and it would be too expensive for you anyway. And the last thing I want to do is charge people who are looking for a job. That just doesn't stay right with me. So what I did is that for the people who are in a position and they've taken all my free resources, I compiled everything I've given online for free into a very well-packaged course. It's the most expensive thing I sell. I think it's like $347. All my other products are like $20 max. And it's for those people who really want me to be their career coach. And what I do is once a month, you can get on a Zoom call with me. There's 5 people on it, and you can ask me for advice. And it's that premium product where if you really, really, really want access to me, that's how you can get it.
Very interesting. So I guess, yeah, it does come down to where followers are at in the stage that they're in. And I guess finding a job is very cyclical.
Yeah.
Or just people enjoy your content and like you and they're willing to stick around. That's always a big plus. So, which is good. Olivia, how are you coaching people? Like, I'm in this situation now where I want to figure out how to productize. What can I package together? Do I sell something as a subscription? Do I sell it as a one-off product? How should people be thinking about those business models? How do you coach them through it?
Yeah, I've talked about this here before, but I think a lot of it is how you want to structure your own life. I think one of the most interesting things for me coming into the creator economy is how boundary abundant it is. Like, if a creator doesn't want to do it, they don't want to do it. And I love that energy, and I think you can set up your business model to attract that. And also, based on what you're willing to give, determines the price that you pay, right? Like, if I'm giving you my time, if we're getting on a call, then I can charge a premium for that, but you don't have to have that be a component of what you're building. So I think you start with what is the time and energy and effort that I want to put into this thing, and then attach that to what is my community asking for. And I think on that multifaceted piece, I talk to a lot of creators about this. They're like, I don't want to pigeonhole myself inside of this one thing. I want to be able to talk about the diverse kind of identity that I have. And I think you're able to do that. I think Jack Appleby is a really great example of that. He's He's spoken at Creator Economy NYC before. He has a basketball account, he has a marketing account, he has his own personal account, and he's able to monetize all of those things in different ways and be his whole self in however he wants to show up. So it is possible to be multifaceted and monetize that in a way that's scalable and aligns with the lifestyle that you desire.
I think what's a big mental barrier also is, again, there's so many boundaries in this space. People maybe not in this room consider themselves an educator, and because of that might feel a sense of like, well, who am I to teach something? How should creators overcome that barrier of like not identifying as an educator?
Exposure therapy? I don't know. I think like at the end of the day,
Are there any exposure therapy creators?
You are, like, your audience is coming to you and they're asking you for things and you're sitting there being like, why are they coming to me about this? But at the end of the day, in your content creation, you're taking your own lived experience and sharing that with people. And that is an exchange of knowledge. And I think it is kind of hard to think in your brain, like, why would somebody want to pay me for that? But it's the same way they want to engage with your content. It's connection. It's trying to open up their experience. They want access to things that maybe they were never exposed to themselves, and you're creating that access for them. So I think don't get so hung up on the educator piece of it, but at the end of the day, as creators, you got into this game because you wanted to add value, and I think that's the core of education. So I think we vehemently believe that education is the key to longevity for creators in this space. I don't think that like you can make it long-term and make a strong income solely off of brand deals, so you have to diversify. That's not to say education has to be the way that you take that, but we've seen it work for a lot of people and want to make that knowledge as accessible to all of you so you can accomplish whatever you desire out of this creator journey.
I love that. Mindset shift is very important. The creator economy is all about mindset stuff, and something I definitely talk about in the newsletter. The fuck it, create it one I really enjoyed writing because it is just element of like, just do the damn thing. And it all comes down to overcoming imposter syndrome. Again, a lot in the audience raise their hand that they deal with that, and I think that's probably one of the biggest barriers. And so with that, I want to go down the line, and then I do want to open it up for Q&A. But Zach, you talked in the beginning about like feeling weird about like, I've been putting out all these free recipes, and now I'm putting it behind a paywall. Like, how do you get over that element of putting something, or making something that people have to pay for? And shifting that mindset from like, this was free, now you got to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, first, you have to be really confident in yourself and what you can put out there. If you aren't, then it's never going to work. And you also have to realize that like time is money, and like you are definitely justified in charging for something if you are presenting it in a way that's different from other people. So like, I try to create recipes that you can't find anywhere else, and there's value in that. So kind of just like learn to really believe in yourself and what you can do, and then that's a great starting point, I would say.
Unleash the power of you.
Yeah.
We love that. And Erin, what about you in all this? We were just talking about all this free content, free resume stuff, and then maybe also feeling a little guilt that someone's looking for a job and you're charging for something, but how do you kind of get over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem for me. Like, if I could give everything away for free, I would. It's like people around me forcing me, saying, Erin, people download my free guides and sell them. Career coaches download my free stuff and they sell them. So it's just kind of like realizing that I really am providing true value. And the thing is that in anything I sell, you can find it for free online somewhere in my YouTube videos. What I'm doing is I'm packaging things and I'm curating them all in one place. And that's what my followers are down with. They're like, oh yeah, I'll pay for convenience. So that's really what I'm selling. But I think I should charge more, and I think I should probably sell more. I know, I just, I can't, but yeah, I mean, that's my business model. I also do a lot of brand partnerships, and those honestly keep me going, and if they didn't, I would probably have to change my business model.
Okay, and very interesting. I feel like the answer is always like, charge more. I
know.
But what is the biggest blocker to charging more? It's that mental barrier of like, I don't know. But once you get there, I think it does come with time and all that stuff. So, and Jessica, what about you thinking about this element of like, I've done all this free content and now I want to package it together. You are literally in the midst of like living this, so you can relate on the ground level to all of us. I'm in the same boat. How are you thinking through all that?
Yeah, for sure. I was a little bit scared at first because I'm like, oh, 2 words, market saturation. Everybody says that. And I'm like, okay, wait, why am I going to put something out there that's already publicly available? Like, you can just Google it. But I had to reframe my mindset. So I did a lot of mindset work last year and reframe the way that not only that I talk about my work, but how I speak about myself and my experience. And I'm like, people are coming to me for a reason. They're asking for mentorship opportunities for a reason. They want to know about my experience, which is unique to me. And they're willing to pay for it, so why not? And so I reframed a lot of that by through positive thinking and then just doing the math. Like, the math is mathing in this instance, so we're running with it.
Math is mathing. I love that.
I love it.
And okay, back to this fuck it, create it type of mindset. How do each of you feel about that when you're thinking about something that you're packaging together and productizing? Do you have a perfectionist mindset, or are you more fuck it, create it? I guess Jessica, we'll go with you back around.
Oh my gosh. So I used to have this perfectionist mindset, and I had to really work my way out of that. So I'm more of just post it and run with it. So I'm actually trying to leave that mindset behind and just posting more in the moment and knowing that what I'm sharing in the moment is of value and it doesn't have to be perfect. I actually don't think audiences want perfectionism.
Nope.
So I'm really leaning into that a lot this year.
Fuck it, create it.
Yeah,
Love it.
exactly.
Erin?
No, that's actually true. Audiences don't want perfection. They like it when it's a little sloppy, I think. And I'm an underthinker. I'm probably
The audience
if
is
anybody else
slop.
is an underthinker, I post ManyChat automations before I built them because I need the impetus. I'm like, ugh. So yeah, I'm a huge underthinker. I make things before I launch things before they're ready. Actually, I launched my course before it was ready because I wanted feedback, and I got it, and I made the tweaks, and it was much better. I didn't have office hours when I first launched it, and everybody was bummed when they signed up. They were like, I thought I was gonna be able to talk to you, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So I added them in, and it's been the best edition ever. So I'm definitely an underthinker, and I think that a lot of creators are actually really risk takers. Yeah.
What is it? Underthinker is the first time I've ever heard that word. Most of you hear I'm an overthinker. You're like,
Yeah.
no, I'm an underthinker. I just do the
It's a
damn
miracle
thing.
I'm still alive.
That's
Honestly.
great. That's crazy. Amazing. And Olivia, I'm curious. You have been creating a little bit yourself, so I'm curious how you're going about it. But your encouragement for other creators.
Yeah, I mean, it is so easy to be the coach and the person telling people you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. It's so much harder to do it for yourself. I think I'm struggling with that perfectionism in my own creator journey. But I think from watching so many people do it, the first version is never going to be the best version. It's not meant to be the best version. It's do it anyway, do it in spite of. And I think I have this philosophy that I cannot even fathom the best things that are going to happen in my life because they're above and beyond what my brain capacity can even reach. And so I think you have to put it out there to see what comes. So that's kind of the energy I'm bringing to it.
Very interesting.
It's perfection is the enemy of the done. Or
Enemy
what's
of
it?
done, yes.
Perfection is the enemy of done.
Yeah, or perfection's the enemy of progress. There's
Oh,
so
of
many
good.
idioms. Yeah, so many idioms.
I'm really bad at things.
Fuck it, create it. We like that. Zach, what are you thinking?
So fuck it, create it is the attitude I take in the kitchen. I love to get crazy. I like to blend cultures and cuisines. But when it comes to, for example, releasing a recipe that's on my website, that has to be tried and true and perfect by the time I post it because I don't want someone making something and yo, this is disgusting. So initially when I first get in the kitchen, I'm willing to try anything. And if it's not good, I won't post the video unless it's a kind of video where I'm posting a fail, which I recently did, and my followers actually love that. But you want to make sure your recipe is perfect before you post it. So for me, I would say my answer is a little different than my other fellow panelists.
But you still
here,
experiment. You still post things.
Yeah,
out
I'm
there.
still always experimenting with the product I create. But if when it comes down to publishing a recipe on my website, that has to be perfect. So there have been so many times where I've had to remake a recipe once, twice, even 3 times just to make sure that it's easy to follow along and the product is what I hope for,
What is the craziest mix you've ever crafted?
Listen, I did a whole fusion food series, so
Okay.
yeah.
We have to go watch. Just behind the paywall.
But
Gotta pay him $5.
But one of my favorite things that I've ever created, and some of my friends are here, so they could definitely attest to this, is I made like a jollof biryani. So, yeah.
Damn.
So jollof rice is like a West African tomato rice, super spicy and delicious. And then there's the Indian biryani where you have like marinated, flavorful chicken that's like baked with the rice and it's topped with like fried onions. So I kind of combined the two, and it's like absolute like flavor bomb in your mouth, like delicious.
Unreal. I'll have to get the video and I'll share it in the post-event email. I gotta pay for it.
Not for the video.
Not for the video though, but for the recipe itself. Amazing. Those are all the questions that I have for you guys. I do want to open up for a handful in the audience. Let's give a round of applause for our panel. Y'all were great. It was so good. A handful of questions we'll take from the audience, and then, of course, we'll get back to all the hanging out here. I see 1, 2, 3, I'll go, but let's bounce it around. Ashley, hello.
Hi, panelists. Can you hear me?
State your name
Yes.
and what you do.
My name is Ashley Lara. I am an actress, and I'm a New York City influencer content creator. My handles are It's Ash Christine on Instagram and TikTok. Christine is without an H. My question for the panel is, when I started my journey on TikTok and I created the foundation that I have now, it was really based on my talking, just how I was engaging with my audience and how I spoke to them. And now I find myself 2-3 years in, and I want to narrow in on what I feel I want to create specifically. And I am worried about transitioning from content that my audience is already used to something that will be new and a new niche or a new way to bring this forward. So my question is, what are some pros and cons that maybe you've had with your own work or you've seen with people that you've worked with in transitioning from a certain type of content to a different kind? And what were some step-by-step plans that you may have had in place to, work with any of the consequences that you see?
I would like to take a stab at this. I know I've been butchering the phrases tonight, but I'm gonna get this one right.
All good.
If you build it, they will come. Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams?
I think that if you build it, they will come. And the second part to my answer is that if you're creating content you love, the people will arrive. They'll show up. Don't just keep creating content that you're not passionate about with this distracting you, because it's not gonna go away. So I would totally just lean into it.
I'd like to answer this as well. First thing, like she said, have fun creating your content, because if you don't, you're just not going to be as creative as you wish to be. When you're in that headspace where you're having fun with it, you're going to create better content. I've experimented with so many different dish styles and video formats and styles over the years, and what I've realized is your passion has to come through. You're passionate about something, and there are a million different ways to present that to the world, but that passion and that who you are as a person, that's what makes you different. That's what nobody else could copy. That's your special sauce. No matter how you present yourself, that has to come through.
And your audience will know if you're not excited about what it is you're creating.
Yeah.
And but we talked about
experiment, go crazy with it. Some videos will perform like crap. I've experienced that. Some will do well. Just always be in a mindset where you want to better your content and experiment while still kind of staying true to your original message.
What do we call that? Fuck it, create it. That's what you gotta do. Anything to add to that, Jessica?
I am aligned with both of them. Just
love
go
alignment.
full it, go in, all in, and just lean into what you consider to be your superpower, because your audience loves you for you, and those who really care about your content and the unique value that you bring will continue to be with you through your transitionary phase. But what I will say is just give them a little gentle nudge and reminder of like what you're doing, why you're shifting maybe topics or themes, and why you might be migrating your content elsewhere if that happens to be the case.
Oh, also one more thing. Also, like have friends to kind of review your content for you. I have a group chat. They're actually all right here. It's it's literally
How much
called
they paying
"Fuck
you?
You, Zach." I don't know why, but a lot of the time when like I don't know how I feel about something, I'll send it in there, and they'll either like rip it apart or like tell me like, oh, you could do this a little better or that a little better, or they'll say it's perfect. Very rarely will they say that actually. But like having people to review your content is so nice to have, because like you're not the average consumer. You see your own content in such a different way. So definitely like have some friends to give you feedback. It's really valuable, and it's really helped me refine my content over time.
And that's why we have this community here, for everyone to step in and help each other. We'll get to you, but we're here first.
Thank you so much. My name is Amin. I transitioned from engineering into tech and products. So I actually built some of the products you guys are using to monetize, so I'm really happy about that, at various tech companies. I wanted to know about your pricing. How are you, there's lots of data that people use around their pricing. Are you thinking about the pricing like, look, I want to make $1 million this year, let me divide that by how many people are into my community, and then I'll price it at $27? Or you're like, you know what, I want to get the most bang for my buck. I don't care if 20 people buy it, but they're going to pay $900. And why does it always end with a 7? Just somebody tell me. Thank you.
You can probably answer that.
Psychology. I would say there is not a one-size-fits-all formula for pricing. I think as an individual creator and whatever niche you're in, you look at the other people in your space. What are they pricing their stuff at? You also look at what is this content and what is the value exchange? Like, is this more of like a digital download, something that they can consume pretty quickly, or is this like a deep dive expertise that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else? I think then you also think about, who is my audience? What is their financial situation? What can they actually afford? So it's kind of an individual experience, and doing a lot of research to figure out also what you feel good about putting out there and what you feel good standing next to from a price perspective.
Okay, great. All right. Here, and then we'll move our way around. B? Oh! Done. We're done. Everybody here. It's great. Right back here.
Hi, my name is Catherine Franklin, and I am a consultant in the creator economy. It's never been easier to create a course or a digital product, which unfortunately results in a lot of charlatans and bros trying to sell me a course at every turn. And so I'm curious how you all think about differentiating yourselves from those bad actors, and kind of just the role they play within this industry at large.
Okay.
Good question.
Okay, so it took me years to make a course, because I literally didn't want to have a course. Like, I didn't want to be someone selling a course. No offense. Yeah. Because I thought I would just blend in with everybody else. Oh, she's just selling me a course. And so that's why, like, my course is an upsell through my email funnel. Like, if you go on my account right now, you guys probably won't even see that I have a course, because it's like low key. So yeah, it is hard, especially when a lot of scammy people are selling courses and they're making a bad name for courses. So that's why I call mine the Career Workshop Intensive. I don't use the word course. That was my way around that. But yes, it's a very unfortunate reality.
Yeah, I also think it's a reality in every industry that exists in our society. Like, there is an underbelly, there's a dark side. I think part of this is the value in how do you get your audience off of social so you can market to them directly versus needing to be out there trying to sell to the mass audience. Like, if you know the community you've built, you have them on your email list and you can sell directly to them, your audience also, if they're on your email list, understand the value that you provide, and they've built that level of trust with you. So part of it is just shutting yourself out from the external noise. Like, yes, that exists, but you know you, your audience knows you, they want to invest in you, and so you're gonna build something that's worth investing in, and you feel confident in putting that out there. That's really what it comes down to.
That's great. That was a good question. All right, we'll swing around. I want to go this way. And you, Ben, and then Yana.
Hey everyone, Ben Smith, Creator Partnerships at Smooth Media. Appreciate the claps. Thank you all for putting this on, really, really appreciate it. So you all are incredibly impressive individuals, and I'm wondering, has there been kind of like a light bulb moment or a high impact moment that has been related to a team hire or system optimization that has led to you being able to do what you do so well?
I was actually just talking this morning. I created a quiz which doubled my newsletter in 4 months. I used a company called Interact, and I'm telling you to use them because they are absolutely phenomenal. And I have used Typeform and Jotform. Use Interact. They are creator friendly, they are hands-on, and they are incredible. That funnel alone has generated an enormous amount of income for me. So I would say yes, like if you're a creator and you can create a quiz, which I think any creator can create a quiz, they create value for your audience, they add emails to your funnel. I love them. I'm a big quiz girl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like a BuzzFeed quiz vibe?
Yeah, it's like, what fruit are you? You know? Yeah, no, it is kind of like a BuzzFeed.
What bug in my...
Yeah, do you guys remember that? Times were so simple.
Okay, super good. That's very unique. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Let's keep it going. Keep it going.
That's fine.
Keep it going.
I'll answer the second part of your question. So for me, one of the most impactful moments throughout my creator career was actually during the Clubhouse days, during like pandemic times, like right before my transition to full-time creator. And I happened to be in a room with a bunch of attorneys that were representing creators, like entertainment attorneys, and they were talking about the importance of contracts and negotiations and being able to double and triple with an attorney. And for me, that was a light bulb moment. I mean, being on the other side of this industry and working for these Fortune 500 companies and understanding the work that went into it was a light bulb moment for me in the sense where I said, okay, I should hire an attorney because I should not be reviewing these 15, 20-page legal contracts on my own. And so it was that me randomly being in a Clubhouse room that really just changed the game for me. And it was my first hire and the best decision that I've ever made. My most expensive, cost to this day. But having a legal team has helped me tremendously just level up my creator career and help me triple the amount of money that I'm making while protecting my business in the meantime.
That's great. That's something worth cheering for.
It's worth it.
It's good. There are a lot of lawyers and attorneys who do come to our events that do work like this. So this is like in real life Clubhouse. We're gonna call this in real life Clubhouse that's going on. All right, Yana, and then we're gonna do one here, and then I think that's probably might be our only one. But you can come on up to ask questions afterwards. All right. I always feel like Oprah when I come in the audience.
You get a car. You get a car. Thank you so much for speaking today and sharing your expertise. So I'm traditionally an Instagram creator, and I felt the need to pivot to different platforms, diversify a little bit. So I focused on LinkedIn this year, and I posted every day since 1st of Jan. And I've gotten a lot of positive response. How would you go about monetizing LinkedIn?
Yes. Okay, I mean, obviously, brand deals is one way to do it, but I think the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is the content is rooted in thought leadership. Like, people are actually interested in the way you think about this space. So I was talking to somebody earlier who comes from a federal government HR background, and I'm like, you should be on LinkedIn talking about what the future of HR needs to look like given the climate, given this virtual ecosystem, all of it. And I think that is a natural progression action into, okay, if you like what I'm talking about from a high level here, I'm going to go deeper in my newsletter. Then you can monetize your newsletter through sponsorships, through subscription. And then from there, if you like what I'm doing in my newsletter, you want to go deeper, then here's a course. You can do one-on-one time with me, or you can do office hours with me. So it becomes a funnel of the depth of the content that you're giving per platform, and helps you move people even off of LinkedIn, given you don't own that audience there still. Even if you have a LinkedIn newsletter, you don't own those email addresses. So it's critical that you're moving people off to a place where you have those emails.
I use LinkedIn too, obviously, as like a career creator. I use it every single day. I think every content creator should be posting on LinkedIn because, like you said, you become a thought leader. And guys, the people who staff for the brand deals that we're getting, they're on LinkedIn every day. The amount of brand deals I get because they're like, I saw your post on LinkedIn, and I'm like, what? So yeah, anyway.
Food videos on LinkedIn
Yes,
tomorrow.
yes.
I just learned something new, so time to get on LinkedIn.
You're on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I have to piggyback off of that. I mean, just posting on LinkedIn alone last year, I mean, the Forbes thing was kind of crazy, but I've gotten hired to speak at conferences and at events just because I'm sharing my corporate to creator journey on LinkedIn, because I'm talking about the successes that other creators are seeing on Pinterest as a result of my, what I'm teaching them. And it's just incredible. I mean, I would have never thought myself to be a LinkedIn influencer, but here we are. So definitely post on LinkedIn. And if you don't know what to post, start with your story, because the same way your Instagram audience wants to learn about you and your story is the same way that the execs and the casting directors want to know about you, about the person behind the brand and the professional. So go full in, all in.
And there's a lot more love on LinkedIn than there is any other platform. 'Cause it's niche. So you're away from the hate and the bullshit and the nice try Diddy comments that come about.
That's right.
So y'all don't want that. Y'all don't want that. I think the biggest takeaway every event is LinkedIn. It's like, you gotta nail it in. But food videos, seriously. We need chefs on LinkedIn. Holy crap, you got a fan base back there.
I'll get you nice and hungry during the workday.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
All right, we got a question from Matt.
Hi, name's Matt, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm a data scientist. And thanks a lot for coming out. Have any of you tried to hold down a full-time job that is separate from everything that we've talked about today, and like what challenges came with that, such as potential conflicts with your job, or even just trying to do both without burning out? I'll leave it open.
Yeah. I'm happy to go first. During the pandemic period, I was in this transitionary phase. I had my 9 to 5, which felt more like a 8 to like 6 p.m. And then I had, the like 6 p.m. to like 2 a.m. And that was my problem, is that I was not getting any sleep and I did not know time management. So that's something that I really tried to work on and lean into. It didn't interfere with my work that much. Some of my colleagues knew about it, and they were pretty supportive. My boss, not so happy when I put in my resignation notice. But no major challenges outside of just time management and really understanding where I need to place my energy. And so this is actually something that I've worked on over the past few years, because admittedly, I sometimes still struggle with the time management piece, but it was learning how to like time block to be creative and then time block to actually work during the day. So that was the biggest challenge for me that I had to overcome.
Yeah, I also worked full-time. I worked at National Geographic until like a couple years ago, full-time, and I would make content on my lunch break and afterwards out on Saturdays. It's a side hustle. And I was growing, and I actually had a huge hesitation to be a full-time influencer or content creator. I don't know, I had a mental block again. So yeah, I mean, I think I have a lot of people come to me and they're like, hey, should I disclose my side hustle to my boss? And I'm like, you don't have to, as long as it's not interfering with your job and you're not like disclosing pertinent information about your job. But yeah, it's, you can burn out for sure. I think you need to have a plan, a monetization plan of how you are going to eventually take this full time, or if you're just having fun with it, then just have fun with it,
What do you do?
I'm a data science by day, and then just YouTube by night.
Okay, nice. You're 9 to 5 to the 5 to 9 is what we like to call.
Cool.
Hopefully soon a 5 to 9. I mean a 9 to 5 quitter, which would be good. So, all right, maybe we can take one more question. Okay, you shouted louder.
Hi, everyone. Since this is built to scale, I just started and launched today NYC Loves Me. Yeah, thank you. Hi, Brett. Nice to meet you finally. We've been pen pals for a long time. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it's hard for me to get time. So if you were starting over, since today is my first day, what do you guys recommend that I know as I'm getting started? Thank you.
Ooh, good question.
I can jump in. I think after watching so many different people approach this journey, I think my advice would be like, what are you in this for? Define that for yourself. And then I would say, like, do the work. Like, don't try to skip steps. I think so much of the initial exercise of figuring out what content works, figuring out who my audience is, like, that is data that helps inform all of those next steps, and you can't skip that. I was talking to a creator who, there was a company who was willing to build the digital product for them with no upfront cost, and my advice was, you're missing out on so much knowledge by not doing that work yourself. It's critical for the longevity of yourself. So I would say, don't try to skip steps. Go through the process of building the community, understanding what they want for you, being willing to fail, so that you can have the knowledge that you need to figure out how to really scale this thing.
That's great advice, Olivia. I would just like to piggyback off of that, to use corporate lingo. And I always call it your desired outcome. So you have to remember what your desired outcome is, just what you were saying. Because different creators have different desired outcomes. Some are working their 9 to 5 and they are just doing it for fun. And that's okay. And if it takes off, that's great. If it doesn't, some people are in this because they want it to be their full-time job. And I work with stay-at-home moms all the time who are like, I'm looking for an income. And I'm like, okay, if you're looking for an income, like, stay out of maybe like fashion niche and work in the finance niche. Like, get into a good niche and figure out how you're gonna make money from that niche. Like we've been talking about in this panel today. So remember what that desired outcome is, and get scrappy and get messy. Post stuff that's not perfect, like we were talking about. Don't spend unnecessary money or time on things. Figure out how to create systems. It took me forever to learn about batching content. I would sit down, do my makeup, make 1 video every day. No, sit down on a Saturday morning and get 10, or however you make your content. I don't know, what type of content you're making. But yeah, figure out how to make your processes more efficient, and don't forget to have fun with it, or else you're gonna start to resent it.
Yeah, I can add to that. Those were both great. I would say you're building community, but find your community in this industry. Find a creator crew or an influencer crew that you can connect with, because you'd be surprised at how much your feelings exactly in here.
Why are we here?
You'd be surprised at how much your feelings in the moment, whatever the case may be, will be validated for you just through you connecting with, the crew, the community that you built. I know that helped me last year, and it's something I wish I would have done earlier on in my creator career. It's find people that I can talk to, vent to about brand partnerships, about who's great, who's not, what they're charging, because I wasn't aware of that when I came into this industry. And so having a crew that you can rely on and lean on the good days and the bad days will be, tremendous.
Yeah, because it can get really lonely.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about that enough.
Yeah.
We get kind of weird.
Next one.
The next panel, countering the loneliness of being a creator. All right, we have our next month ready. There we go. Sponsored by Headspace. Zach, you had a point?
Oh yeah, one last thing is, like, find your why. It has to be more than just money, and it has to be more than just, oh, I enjoy doing this. Like, I say this to myself every single day. I aspire to create content that inspires, engages, and educates people to get in the kitchen and cook, because that's my passion. I love seeing other people cook. What's your why? And then how is that going to fuel the kind of content that you create?
Love that. Yeah. I'm going to end on a bang note here. Fuck it, create it. Make the thing happen and just start getting it going, because you got to put in the reps. Y'all, thank you so much to our amazing panelists here. Let's give a huge round of applause. You guys are great. Thank you for being a wonderful community, a wonderful audience. Again, we are so excited to announce our conference, Connect. It's happening on May 10th. We do have, again, the QR code here, and I will, of course, follow up with more information. But put your emails in there, and I hope to see you all there. Of course, hope to see you at the next one. But we are here for a little bit longer, so find that community, talk to your good people. The bar is open. There's some food in the back. Thank you all so much again.